All right. Julian, how's the website going?
Good. Can't complain.
What made you want to start up a Serie A website or a website dedicated to Serie A?
I don't know. I just love the league, and like I'm very passionate about writing, so I thought like it'd be a good idea to just do that. And then it started blowing up, and then I wanted to take a step further, so like presented it to podcasts, and like you guys, others were interested in what they saw and like wanted to work with me, and yeah, so I took it a step further, and here we are today, collaborating and looking forward to many more, hopefully.
That's amazing. So you like how did you fall in love with Serie A? Like, was it the league you followed most when you was growing up? Is it like a recent falling in love? How did it come about?
Yeah, at the beginning, like when I was younger, it was one of the leagues I was following the most. It was not in the Prem, but then like over time, like it was a bit boring because like Juventus were constantly like winning, so I was like following the Prem a lot. And then just recently, like like I think it was such a coincidence that Ronaldo came back, and like ever since Ronaldo joined the Serie A, and ever since then, like I just fell back in love with it. Like now, like a lot of the big other last season we saw Inter clinch the title over Juventus for the first time in like 9 seasons. So like now, like how do I say, like because it's different now, like because it's not just one team dominating the entire league, it makes it more exciting, especially this season.
Yeah, you think back to when Jose Mourinho was at Inter. I feel like Inter was everybody's second team. Like, everybody loved seeing Inter's rise to dominance. During that Mourinho period. That challenging under Conte was actually something good to see. It was a shame that Conte couldn't find an agreement.
It's unfortunate, but it's okay.
I was going to quickly ask though, Banks. Oh, you want to go live? You ready?
No, go for it. Ask a question.
I was going to quickly ask Julian. When did you notice like the proper change in Serie A in terms of like the quality drop? Like what year can you specify it to? Was it as soon as Juventus got relegated?
That's a good question because it used to be Serie A doing all the big transfers, like money. So yeah, that's a good question. Now, when do you think sort of it kind of dropped off maybe not in terms of quality, but in terms of Serie A clubs losing their purchasing power, Serie A clubs not being able to attract some of the best players? When do you think that happened?
I think like early, like probably like from like 2012 and onwards until like 2017, 2018, that's where like it dropped drastically.
Okay, because most people say, oh, when Juventus went down the league, but I don't think it was when Juventus, because they still had big players in AC and Inter. They still had a Champions League in Inter in 2010.
AC was still like one of the top dogs back then. I wouldn't say. But we are about to go live. I'm about to play that beautiful music. Thank you to everyone tuned in right now. Let's get this show very much on the road.
You are now listening to The Final Third.
I think Pepe's so coachable.
Well, you just need to shake him. You should be in prison. We build you out. We build you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be in prison. You facing charges.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Final Third European REARview show. I'm your host today, Banks, and I'm joined by my ever-faithful co-host, Shemi, or otherwise Shemi Lore, or Lavish, or Kante's cousin, whichever one you want to call him. And we are joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Mr. Julian Faustini, a Serie A expert, and it's only perfect that we have a Serie A expert. When we have so many Italian teams competing in the UCL, it's only right that we get a Serie A expert in order to help us break it down. Julian, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on. I look forward to this. And this week was such a crucial week in this prestigious tournament. So there's a lot to talk about, and there were so many great results all across the board. So I'm really ecstatic to be here with you guys. Thank you guys for having me on.
No problem, man. No problem. Nathan got started already. He wants CARRICK to get a deal long term. Over there, we don't want bad vibes over here. They're also saying Neymar Tesco value Ronaldinho. These are questions we're gonna answer. But first, it's only right we have a Serie A expert here that we want to talk about an Italian team. Juventus came to London to face off against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and it did not go so well. Chelsea ended up running out 4-0 winners. Julian, I want you to help me break it down. Why do you think Juventus couldn't leave London with anything? Was it just a quality difference? Did they set out wrong? Where do you think Juventus went wrong?
I think defensively they were just extremely poor. They weren't able to contain Chelsea's line of attack, and especially in the midfield, like Chelsea exploited that weakness of Juventus. N'Golo Kante, when he was on the pitch for that period of time, like before getting injured, he was dominant. Jorginho too, he was just picking apart that defense, and they just couldn't contain the front three up top and the fullbacks out wide. Like Reece James was brilliant against the black and white of Turin, and he managed to continue his fine run of form. So overall, it was a fantastic display from Chelsea. Chelsea were just better in all aspects of the game. Tuchel is like a genius. Like the way he runs that 3-4-3, and like it's beautiful to see Chelsea, like the way they defend off the ball, like the transition, like it's so impressive. So I would honestly like give him a kiss on the cheek for how brilliant he's been.
I was gonna say it's gonna go on, right?
I was gonna say, literally straight after the game, I saw a report saying that Adrien Rabiot is on the transfer list for Juventus now. He's lost the confidence of the coach, is the word they used. I still can't believe he's one of the, like, I remember when he was at PSG and his mum was the fact that he wasn't getting the deal with, like the fact that he's turned out as rubbish as he is, like is actually the fact that he's managed to survive so long at Juventus is a crime in itself.
Rabiot's trajectory has been abysmal, because it's when it was at PSG, the fact they let him go, we were all shocked, like, oh no, then he couldn't get into the France squad and things like that. But let me not just focus on that. If you look at Juventus's actual form in Serie A, this result doesn't really shock you. They're like languishing, and like where they're like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, they're eighth. They're in 8th place, I believe. No, the result didn't shock me. I think a lot of people were shocked just because they had a pretty decent result, like in the weekend they managed to win 2-0 against Lazio, but it wasn't a perfect performance. It wasn't as dominant as they could have been based on the quality that they had. So like I wasn't surprised they lost, but like they were blown 4-0 away. So like it was a bit disappointing in that aspect. But
traditionally though, you know that especially traditionally it's like Italian defense structure, Bonucci, Chiellini, you get just the history behind it. No matter where they are, you always feel like you're not going to beat them by a certain amount of goals, and the fact they got beat 4-0 comfortably.
Yeah,
one of Chelsea's goals where Ruben Loftus-Cheek is like more or less carries the ball into the box,
dancing in the box,
and then lays it to Callum Hudson-Odoi, and you're looking like, how did he have so much time? And it's just it was
poor defensively. Totally agree.
One thing I want to ask you, Julian, is Allegri returned back to Juventus this summer. Was it this? It was this summer, yeah.
Yeah, it was this summer, correct.
Obviously there was reservations about him coming back. What do you make of his return? Do you feel like Juventus took the right decision? Is it kind of going backwards to go back to Allegri, considering he won the Serie A, but he couldn't get them over the line in the Champions League? What do you make of Juventus going back to Max Allegri?
I just didn't really get it. Like I don't understand why they're going backwards. Like if you're gonna hire a new coach, like hire a coach that's never coached Juventus before. Like we already know what Allegri could bring to the table, and like I just didn't understand that decision. Like I don't understand why a club would go backwards.
That's it. Because again, like you're getting rid of Ronaldo, which tells me you're not really trying to win right now. Or maybe you are trying to win, but you're getting rid of your better players. And
but the wage bill over there is too high. So the Ronaldo thing, it made sense to get rid of him, because Ronaldo, as much as he did well and he was a top goal scorer in Serie A, it was a failure because you weren't there to win the league. You were there to bring them bring home the big ears.
It's definitely a failure in terms of the Ronaldo project, because you're right. He was brought to take them over the line and he couldn't do it.
But I'm saying you're saying
Now a lot of people are saying a lot of people before the season were saying, oh, Juventus are gonna play a lot better now that Ronaldo's gone. Just watch. Hey, people gotta start respecting, like, you gotta start respecting this man. He isn't just an ordinary player. Oh, he was holding Juventus back. I mean, that's been proven that that's just rubbish. Misky, big up Misky in the comments, has asked us Trent, Cancelo, or James, guys. James scored a wonderful goal this match week, took on the chest and absolutely blasted it bottom corner. Who are you taking out of Trent, Cancelo, or James? I'll start with Julian.
Oh, me? I think I'm gonna go with right now. I'm gonna go with Reece James. In terms of form, right now he's astonishing. I mean, in the Prem, I think he he tallied up like 4 goals and 4 assists so far, and like it's just brilliant. Like that's what you like to see from a full back. The way he attacks, the way he defends, and he's so creative on the ball. It's just brilliant. So I'm gonna go with Reece James.
Lav, what are you saying?
I can't lie to you. This is very, very hard for me.
That is tough.
It's very, very tough. Obviously, Reece James is on great form. So now I'm saying it's hard for me between Trent and Cancelo, but it's because Cancelo right now. Cancelo.
Even Cancelo has been brilliant.
Pardon?
So
even Cancelo has been brilliant.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. But why Cancelo, Banks? To answer your question, for me, it's just because he can play both sides. I've not seen Trent play that. It's just fine margins for me.
This isn't a conversation about James Bloody Milner, bro. Nobody cares about his tech, bro. Nobody cares he can play in a
technique. You didn't say
defending. Don't bring versatility into it.
Yeah, because I'm an Arsenal fan, so we need people who can fill in the most. You know what I mean? That's why I went Cancelo. But yeah, if that's why I went, yeah, Cancelo still technique-wise, Cancelo.
I'm going Cancelo as well. I feel like Trent, mate, like in terms of his position, like I wouldn't say generational, but like him and Dani Alves in terms of being a purely attacking outline. I don't think many people have done it like Trent has. Amazing, but there's questions about him defensively that the other two you just don't have those same questions. James, I have to kind of like put a tax on it because he's playing in a back three. Yes, I know it's not just because there's more defenders on the pitch that he looks better. He's in a better defensive system, but again, you don't have to do as much. He's basically playing as a winger.
Basically,
yeah.
He's not doing a whole load of defending. Cancelo is literally just a perfect blend because he don't get burnt.
Yeah, he's fast.
He's extremely fast.
And he'll still give you, like, even today, he did one outside of the ball, outside of the football to, I think it was Gabriel Jesus or Sterling. I was just like, this is a right back. This is a right back that is doing these sort of balls on the fly. Me and my brother were literally just like, yeah, I think Cancelo out of the 3 right now is just, he's clear.
Yeah.
Quickly to talk about Chelsea. A lot of people to start the season, me included, thought maybe Chelsea don't have the creativity or wouldn't create the chances. They were thought that maybe they were relying a lot on their defense. Julian, is that something you subscribe to, or do you feel like Tuchel's getting an unfair rap in terms of what he can do attacking wise?
No, I totally agree. I think that at the beginning of the season, like I wasn't sure like how they were gonna do offensively. Like even last season, despite winning the Champions League, they struggled a little bit in the final third. No pun intended, obviously.
We love a pun.
But no, seriously, like I don't know, like but then they brought in Lukaku, and I don't know. I just feel like ever since then, like it's changed. Like they've been brilliant. But even with Lukaku off the pitch, they proved that they could still find the back of the net, which is amazing. Like all around, like the system clearly works and gets the best out of all these players. At the beginning of the season, yeah, I was subscribed to that, but as of right now, no. Like they clearly show that they could still finish.
My problem with Chelsea, is the fact that I feel like they've been performing at an optimum for a long time. And if you're up, you're only going to come down. So I'm just waiting for that come down.
I say he's waiting for them to come. He's waiting for the fall off.
He's waiting for
the fall off. But yeah, they're playing well.
One thing I want to introduce before I continue, I should have introduced it earlier, but we are playing a little competition. We all know Lavish's internet likes to play up. So we're playing a little lavish connection bingo. We're calling it lavish connections. You have to guess what minute Lavish's connection is going to play up. If you get that correct, or if you get closest, you win a McDonald's cheeseburger. Put your predictions into the comment. It hasn't happened yet. Put your predictions into the comments. If you can guess correctly when it's internet will play up, you will win a McDonald's cheeseburger. Moving on very swiftly. Moving on very swiftly. Get those predictions in the comments. We want to see. Last week it was it's on Sunday. I think it was like what 39 minutes.
It was 40 something. It was 40 something.
Oh no, it was 49. It was 49. You're completely correct. Get your predictions in there. Gonna move on. Manchester United were playing in a crucial Champions League tie against Villarreal. A win was most definitely needed in order to secure their passage into the Champions League knockout stages, and they managed to secure it in Spain, winning 2-0 with late goals from Cristiano Ronaldo. And the first goal for Jadon Sancho. The goal for Sancho made me smile more than the Ronaldo goal. Julian, what did you think of the performance under interim manager Michael Carrick? Literally, you have to add interim because they're still planning to hire interim. That's how
interim. Yeah, I just heard that. I think it's Ernesto Valverde that they're interested in hiring as the interim manager. I don't know.
I've heard Valverde. I've heard Steve Bruce, Marquise.
There's so many names. There's so many names going around. I don't know who it's gonna be. But anyways, I think it's a positive start to the post-Oli era. I mean, they managed to break down a very solid defensive Villarreal side and clinch all 3 points away from home. So I think it's a fairly good start. I don't fair play to De Gea. I think he was brilliant. He really kept them in the game on that one. So despite the offensive brilliance, I think they're still a bit poor defensively. So yeah, that's just my opinion. What did you guys think of the game?
I'll let Lavish speak on this one.
All right. I'm tired of Villarreal. Fair enough. Out of the three fixtures, in the last year, out of the 3 fixtures, they won the one that mattered in terms of the final. But I'm tired of Villarreal in the sense that you can control possession. Because Villarreal never really look under duress, especially in the previous game. Not so much this one. They never really look under pressure. But Man United score against a run of play every single time. This one, Man United were more in the game. And shout out to Fred as well. Man United were more in the game, but I'm tired of Villarreal because they just lack the final punch, or they just lack the killer instinct within them.
Yeah, offensively they're a bit poor. Yeah,
so poor. And then as for Manchester United, I feel like going forward, I feel like they had a little bit more. We know defensively they're weak, especially Telles versus who's their right by United. Villarreal's right. What's his name?
Oh, it was like Pino. I think it was Pino that was playing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he had Telles on 6s and 7s, just had him in the blender, adding him a spin cycle every single time it was getting at him. But Telles going forward in terms of deliveries and stuff, it was coming from even Wan-Bissaka. He was getting into promising positions, but Man United were better, were more confident going forward. I give them that. Again, Ronaldo gets them out of the doghouse. It always manages to be him, and it can't be luck if it keeps happening to him. But then it takes the pressure off, and then Sancho as well just whacks it.
That's it. Bang.
Have you got yellow?
Madness.
Someone play some. Go on.
Yeah, in terms of the performance, we were getting popped around first half. It was very much a stay in it for 70 minutes, and then we send on our game winners, Bruno and Rashford, to try and win us the game. And it worked. It wasn't pretty at all. It wasn't a sign that, Carrick is going to play. Maybe he will do, but this wasn't the game where he showed, I'm going to play a beautiful, expansive football for the team. He didn't show in that game, but he did coach us to be very resolute defensively, set us up in 2 banks of 4 defensively, said, you defend these spaces. Under Ole, too many times it was so easy to play through us. So easy to play through us. 1, 2, 3 passes and you're through. Carrick, to his credit, he set us up in 2 easy banks of 4. Ronaldo and Martial up front, basically, and he said, "You're not going to be easy to beat today." He did that for the first 70-odd minutes. And then once Villarreal started to tire, he sent on Bruno, he sent on Rashford, and they sort of changed the game attacking wise. Once they came on, we started to get a hold of the ball a bit more, create some chances. One thing I will say, which is killing me, Bruno, all his time at United, plays like a madman, plays like he does the first thing that comes into his head. The very first thing that comes into his head, he's doing it. He doesn't care whether it's plausible or if it makes sense, he's going to do it. Today, when he came on as a sub, he was subdued. He was calm. He was just making better decisions. Wasn't rushing anything. Wasn't doing stupid crossfield passes. Wasn't rushed that. And it's just telling me that Ole gave him the license to be as reckless as possible. Ole gave him the license to do all the stupid stuff that he does. Carrick told him, "You're not doing that. You're not doing." He dropped him. He said, these are the exact words. He said, "There's a team to be picked. He's a lovely fella, but there's a team to be picked." Under Ole, Bruno was undroppable. Carrick said, none of that, because your form doesn't say you should be undroppable. Maguire, your form doesn't say you're undroppable. All of these guys, please, you're not undroppable. And I like that Carrick showed that. He came on and he made a bit more sense. He played a bit better, a bit more reserved. Wasn't as gung-ho as he usually is. And that's what I like to see. Because Bruno, if he calms it down, doesn't do all the stupid stuff, he can still pick up good passes. So where the main thing, Jadon Sancho's goal. I want Lavish to talk about Jadon Sancho's goal because he's been getting on to. So how did you find his performance actually? How did you find his performance?
I was trying to sit still for as long as possible, but because I thought my Wi-Fi was gonna go, but apparently you're the one in slow-mo.
What? Oh, it's a bit of Banks Wi-Fi. Say less.
Yeah, so you're the one in slow-mo. Speak on Sancho's performance, did you say?
Yes, please. Speak on Sancho's performance.
Yeah, like you said, remember, was it the Villa game? Or there was a match, the Premier League match, where you said just because Sancho's not getting a goal and an assist, everyone thinks he performs badly or he's performing badly. Fair enough, it applied more so then than games after that. But in this one, he played well, even without the goal. He was playing well enough because he was a threat. He was more positive in the sense that he was trying to take on his man more. Whereas before, it's like he's trying to give off 1-2s, give and goes. But if you're not training the give and goes, it just doesn't look smooth. Do you get what I mean? And then when you get into the situations where you have to take your man on, you've lost confidence. You've lost confidence already. But he actually looked like
man was moving like YouTube captions way behind the speech.
Yeah, you were. But but yeah, he seems like he had a license to like have errors, and you could just feel like, you know, when under Oli, it seemed like he had to prove himself, even though he was a big money signing. He comes on and he has like a certain amount of minutes to prove his selection. Whereas now it's a fresh start and Carrick's gone with you. I guess he felt a bit more free, so he could make errors, and that showed in how he played, taking his man on more often rather than passing at first thought. So happy for him. Hopefully for my sake, this is a one-off. But for you lot's sake, that he actually carries on playing well. But yeah.
Nathan said, let's be real, Sancho hasn't got enough raw pace to be a right winger in the Prem. I hear that he does not have raw pace. He's not like mad speedy. He's not the quickest winger about. He's not mad speedy. He's not, I can't lie, he's not mad speedy. But I think what I like about Sancho on the right is, especially against Watford, if you get a player that can combine with him, you saw with Van der Beek, them two were playing on the right-hand side and he was skinning their left back every single time, getting into good positions, creating chances, just by having a player there that could combine with him. When you always have Scott McTominay or Fred, who are not the most like expanded, they're not playing in tight spaces. They can't play in tight spaces. Van der Beek showed it against Watford, showed it to a tiny extent against Villarreal. Van der Beek wasn't that good against Villarreal, but he showed it. He can play in those tight spaces. He can give Sancho the 1-2s that he wants, like the little give and goes, get him in behind. So I don't think it's impossible for Sancho to play on the right wing, but he can't play on the right wing as a winger, if you get what I'm saying. He needs to play as a creative forward, somebody that's going to combine, get him in behind. If you just put him on the...
I don't think so. Personally, I disagree. I actually disagree. I feel like he can play in those positions because I think we've been spoiled with, like, for example, Liverpool, in the sense that yes, they actually have rapid wingers, but Sancho, the fact that we're saying he's not rapid, he's he's fast enough. Like, if he's in most teams, he'll be one of the top
He's
five.
fast. I'm not saying he's slow, but he's not Salah. He's not Mane in terms of that sort of.
That's what I'm saying. We've been spoiled with what we've seen so far, and I feel like it still works with him as a winger. At Dortmund, he was a winger.
Yeah, he was a winger, but he did not have to take, especially from the right. He wasn't out there dribbling. Like he was creating, he was connecting with Hakimi or whoever was playing right back and doing those little things that would get in behind. He's not a pure like run at you, dribble 100 times a game to get past you. That's not his game. Miski, emphasizing my point, he needs a proper right back to link up with. Wan-Bissaka, your days are actually finished. Oh my god. Did you see a touch he took in the second half? Oh my god.
That was poor.
Did you see the way it bounced up? You're a professional footballer, brother. You can't let it bounce up like it was literally just a harmless pass as well. If anybody was next to him, you're getting closed down.
He ran in field at one point. He ran in field, and I think he bypassed Bruno and then tried to do a lofted pass. But Ronaldo anticipated the guy would miss the header, or he headed it back.
I saw that.
I was just looking at why was that the pass you decided to make. But anyway, Wan-Bissaka, he's just different. He's different. He's just different.
Crystal Palace. If you want him back, give us the call. Give us the bell. It's all yours if you want him back, man. It's all yours. I think that's enough on the United game. I want to talk a little bit about the big game that happened on Wednesday night. Manchester City facing off against Paris Saint-Germain. Pochettino possibly coming to Manchester, but this time as a PSG manager, not as the potential Manchester manager. No, there's been rumors and whatnot about. I'll go to Julian first. What did you make of the PSG performance today? Went ahead early, well, not early in the second half, but City managed to fight back. What did you make of the PSG performance?
Overall, the first half they were really poor. The first half, they couldn't contain the Manchester City defensively. Like Manchester City was just absolutely dominant in the first half. The way Rodri and Gundogan controlled that midfield was amazing, and the way they stretched those long balls out wide to Mahrez and who's the other winger? Sterling. Yeah, Sterling. It was just insane. Yeah, like Mahrez was a major threat. Those 1-2 combinations out wide to Mahrez, and they had so many opportunities to put that ball behind the net. I was so shocked that they couldn't get the goal in, and then all of a sudden to see them flip the switch in the second half and take the lead over Manchester City so quickly, with Messi combining with Mbappe, it was a bit disappointing. But then City just turned it around. It was phenomenal the way they managed to pick themselves up and score 2 goals in quick succession. And I don't know, to me, the one player that stood out was Bernardo Silva throughout the whole game. He was honestly astonishing, especially the second goal, the way he just sliced the ball. Pretty much it was that pass was really as if he took a piece of butter and he sliced it perfectly with a knife. It was honestly with that one touch through the defenders into the 6-yard box, and then just for Gabriel Jesus to tuck it in with the inside of the foot. It was brilliant. It was pure genius.
One thing I want to ask you about PSG.
Yeah,
you've obviously got Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi up front. One of the most feared trios in terms of quality. There's not many, if any, trio that's matching that in terms of quality. What do you make of PSG's tactical setup in terms of what they have to do to accommodate them? Because me personally, I saw them 3 up front and literally that midfield having to work 200% to try and contain City, and it still didn't work. What do you make of that tactical setup? Is that something you think can work long term at PSG? Can that win them the big trophies in terms of the Champions League?
I don't know. I think it's a bit too predictable. I don't know. We saw it today. They were able to shut them down very easily. I don't know. I think they have to change it up. Maybe move Messi into a false 9 position and put Di Maria out wide to try to create more space for Mbappe. I don't know. I just found it it was a bit too predictable, and like Neymar especially underperformed today. He was really poor, like wasn't able to beat the defenders in a one-on-one situations. He kept losing the ball. I mean, no loss of credit for Manchester City. They were absolutely brilliant defensively, the way they won the ball back so quickly, but Neymar was just really poor. So yeah, I think they should try to change tactics in order to like make it less predictable.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the fix to PSG. Personally speaking, I feel like you're languishing in this whole. Remember the whole drought Real Madrid had, where they had several stars, but they couldn't actually just mount a good Champions League run. Just before the whole Ancelotti period, they couldn't really mount a good enough Champions League run, and they have all the players there to definitely win the Champions.
Yeah, for sure.
So people saying that they need better midfielders. Sometimes their midfielders more than good enough to win. So if you man see this letter.
Nathan said if you saw the
I was reading Nathan's comment, I was dying.
Was praying every time Morris got the ball not to make a mixtape out of him.
Yeah. So their team's more than good enough to win a Champions League. But I know it's easy to blame Poch, but I feel like give them specifics to do in terms of, obviously the front three have a free roam, but they still need direction. Do you want to play them together? Do you want to spread it and make them wide? I don't know. I actually don't have the answers, like, because I'm not a manager, but generally I don't know what the fix is, but it's just not good enough over there.
When I look at it tactically, they played essentially three workhorses in midfield to accommodate that front three. They played Paredes and Herrera and Idrissa Gueye, who have their strengths in terms of being able to cover a lot of ground and doing the dog work, but there just wasn't enough quality in terms of once you get the ball back, is it gonna stick? And every time City pressed them, they won the ball back every single time.
The quality coming from Paredes there, though.
There's a bit of quality, but still, even him, that's limited. Maybe it changes because Verratti for me is like a game-changing midfielder.
Yeah.
Maybe we watched this game without Verratti in the midfield. I remember I think the first Manchester City PSG game, Verratti was again top notch.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching this game without Verratti in that midfield, and maybe that's the ace in the pack that Poch is relying on to make this all work. Because me looking at it right now, I don't see how this can work. The disparity from like your front three, literally, even for the second goal, your wing, like Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, none of them are tracking fullbacks. None of them are tracking fullbacks, which allows the overlap, allows the ball to come in. Eventually, Gabriel Jesus finishes. He needs that Verratti quality in the midfield. Maybe that's the ace in the pack. Maybe that's what's gonna make this all work. Because without just looking at that midfield there, if he rolls into the latter stages of the Champions League with that midfield, trying to do the dog work for the attackers, I don't see it working.
You're already 3 man. You're already 3 man down, so it's just more or less 7 defenders or 7 players defense, which already it's very hard to do. Like you can see the opposition. You see when Man City lost the ball, you see how often Sterling was tracking back. And I know it's simplistic to say you're not running, you're not picking up your man, but sometimes it's just those basics. At Barcelona, it was different from Messi because I feel like only Messi and sometimes Suarez had that free roam, which still leaves 8 people. But when it's just when it's 3 already, it's a lot of work.
Three up top that literally just don't do no running.
That don't track back. Yeah, you can't function like that as a club. It's impossible. Yeah,
it's impossible.
Zidane goes and it changes. Zidane goes and it changes, though.
See, I want to know how it changes though, because you still have to fit in those 3 players. Like those 3 players need to play.
Zidane is one of the few managers in the world now because of the cachet he has as a player, and now the credibility he's built, winning 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Whatever Zidane says, there's no club in the world, obviously not Barcelona, you can't go, but there's no club in the world that what Zidane says you can't do, because he's built the credibility as a manager and a player. So Zidane goes and he's French. He's gonna if he goes to pack, you're gonna do. If he tells Messi to track back, Messi kind of has to track back. Zidane will bench Messi. Zidane will bench Messi. So yeah.
Former Real Madrid manager coming to PSG to bench the Barcelona legend Messi.
Yeah.
El Chiringuito will have an absolute field day. They will have a.
Did you watch Did you watch the guy that brought 2 props that he brought?
yeah.
Have you seen
I
it?
promise you, he's the.
Have you seen it? The guy on what's it called? Is it El Chiringuito?
Yeah, El Chiringuito.
Yeah.
Nah,
Funny.
He's too done. Yeah, quickly. We spoke a little bit about Manchester City, but Julian, going off this performance, how far do you see Manchester City going in this competition? Obviously, made it to the final last year. Do you feel like this team can go one better, or are there better teams that you back more in this competition?
I think the strong favorites definitely win the Champions League. Like we've seen it today. Like despite not having Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, and I believe it was Ferran Torres. I believe 3 players who have lots of quality and are pretty much game changers. They can pretty much change the game with the flick of a switch, and they still managed to find the back of the net and win this impressive. Clinch an impressive result against this difficult PSG side. So I think they're strong favorites to win. I think they could possibly take it a step further this year. Like I think they're a bit more organized defensively compared to last season. In the midfield too, they're a lot better. I find like structured. Like Rodriguez, Rodriguez was an animal today. Like on the midfield, Gundogan seems to be in fine form. He could have easily found the back of the net. So like if they could keep this train of momentum going, I think they could possibly win it. It's going to be a close call. Like, of course, there's so many tough teams in this year's Champions League, but I could definitely see them taking a step further and clinching that Champions League title once and for all.
All right. If you're in the building, thank you for joining us on this Wednesday evening for the European REARview show. Make sure you're subscribing, hitting that like button, subscribe to the Final Third, hit that like button, follow us on the socials, all that good stuff. Again, I want to talk about another sleeping giant in Italy. AC Milan managed to get a 1-0 win at the Wanda Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. It's still looking likely that they will not be able to get through in the Champions League this year. Julian, why do you feel AC Milan sort of fell short of expectations in the Champions League this year?
I don't know. I think part of it, perhaps, like they weren't able to cope with the pressure. Like there was so much anticipation, so much hype with AC Milan finally reaching in the Champions League group stage again. And I guess they weren't able to cope with that. But also defensively, like in the Champions League, they were a little bit poor. Like versus Liverpool, they did brilliant to lead 2-0, and then all of a sudden they choked that lead and lost 3-2. So I think they were just a little bit poor defensively. But today they were absolutely brilliant in the back. They were well structured and they managed to exploit Atletico Madrid on the counterattack. Theo Hernandez played a beautiful ball to to Kessié, who crossed the ball brilliantly in between the defenders to Messiah, the 30-year-old Brazilian, to clinch all 3 points at the Metropolitano. So I think today was a different AC Milan side that we've seen in the last 4 fixtures. So it was brilliant the way they defended and closed that excellent front 3 of Atletico Madrid down.
I haven't given Milan enough credit. They're still very much in the picture. They could still.
It's just the fact that all their valiant. They've had so many glorious failures in the Champions League already. Obviously the Liverpool one is the one that's still in my memory. They were really on top of Liverpool, and how they let that slip. How they let that slip.
Porto one, I think they drew 1-1 with Porto when they probably should have beat them. But if I just look at the Champions League Group B, Liverpool clear top 15 points, 5 wins on 5. Porto was second on 5 points. Milan third on 4 points. Atletico Madrid bottom on 4 points. Sorry. So it is still relatively open. Milan will host Liverpool on game week 6.
It's still possible technically.
It's still possible. Atletico Madrid traveling to Porto. So it's still technically possible for Milan to get through. Do you see them getting through? Do you believe they have enough to stop the juggernaut that is Liverpool right now?
It's gonna be tough, but I don't think they have what it takes. I don't think they're gonna. They don't like defensively, especially like lately. The fullbacks have been like their fullbacks in the domestic league have been really poor, and I just don't think they're not ready to face Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane on the flanks. Like I feel like they're gonna be torn apart, and torn to shreds, basically.
The funny thing is, what might favor them is the fact that they're not going to. Salah and Mane are definitely not going to play. Liverpool already qualified, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're going to play a lot of these youngsters, Liverpool. So it might work out in AC Milan's favor. You never know.
You never know. You never know with this tournament.
But it seems that even Klopp's second teams managed to go out and get wins. Something like that.
Yeah,
it's fake. It's fake. Another entertaining Champions League game that happened this week involving the Italian side. Atalanta drawing 3-3 against BSC Young Boys. Just where, like, for those of our viewers that maybe don't watch a lot of Atalanta football, Julian, could you tell us just why they're so attacking, why they're so open, and why they're always involved in so many high-scoring games?
I don't know. Gasperini's just brilliant at what he does. The way he uses that 3-4-3 is absolutely brilliant. They're pretty much like within the Serie A, they're pretty much like a Premier League team. The way they're so direct and you don't give the defending side like a chance to breathe. They just constantly go forward and find those 1-2 combinations to easily break the back line and find gaps in between defenders. It's brilliant. So yeah, that game was incredible. Duvan Zapata managed to continue his fine form, scoring a goal. Also Pasalic, the German midfielder, managed to lay off a beautiful ball for who was it? One of the center backs who scored a beautiful strike. But unfortunately, they just fell short. They were a little bit poor defensively. 2 of the goals, I believe, from Young Boys came from set pieces, so it was a bit disappointing to see that. But fair play to Muriel, the super sub of Atalanta, managed to score a beautiful free kick with his first touch on the ball after just coming on to get a point at least to keep their hopes of qualifying to round 16 alive.
Muriel is one of the biggest, just like European journeymen.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Wherever he goes, you just feel like he'll get a goal, he'll get his name in a goal. One thing that I do want to discuss, if I go back quickly, Bayern Munich, Lewandowski, if you didn't see, just scored a absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Amazing bicycle kick.
What a bicycle kick. I didn't even know. Wow.
There are talks, there are reports that Messi will apparently bag his 7th Ballon d'Or, but with Lewandowski's amazing form in 2021, Julian, do you feel like Lewandowski should be taking home the Golden Ball?
100%. He's like Lewandowski's like a pure breed on his own lately. Like he's phenomenal. The way like he has goal scoring instincts. Like he was literally born with goal scoring instincts. He just keeps on scoring over and over again. Even as the Bayern Munich side gets weaker and weaker, like I find like this is probably the weakest side on paper. Like throughout the years, he still managed to keep to maintain that goal scoring form. So yeah, I think he should definitely deserve to win that Ballon d'Or this year, or Golden Boot.
Which is Ricky says if Messi grabs the Ballon d'Or, that'll be corruption at its finest, and I couldn't agree more. Even as a Messi fan, if he grabs that, it will be very, very poor. You'll be looking at that. You'll be looking at that as a player and thinking, this guy just has to retire just for everybody else to have a chance, because neither Messi or Ronaldo deserve it this year.
No, 100% no.
No.
Nathan said AC Milan away isn't for everyone. I'm assuming he's referring to Arsenal's glorious failure back in like 2012 when you lot beat them 3-0, but still managed to crash out 4-3 on aggregate. Who was it that did that last? I think it was Van Persie that did that last.
Van Persie, yeah.
Yeah, we'll never forget. I just want to look quickly at some of the groups that are still up for grabs. I just want to quickly just pop off. You lot tell me who you think are gonna go through. So we've got Ajax, Sporting, Dortmund, Besiktas, Sporting and Dortmund still in the picture to go through. Who do you think is going through? Sporting currently on 9 points, Dortmund on 6 points. I'll go to Shem Lavish first.
The fact that Dortmund, they lost 3 in a row recently, haven't they?
Yeah, 3 in a row, yeah.
I'll still go Dortmund.
Dortmund. Another one. Oh no, Inter Milan's through. Barcelona, Benfica. Did you not see the miss Seferovic did against Barcelona last night?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's such a disgrace. He is such a disgrace. I can't. Man chipped it over the keeper and managed to side foot it wide. He is an absolute disgrace. But Barcelona still in danger of possibly going out. They drew 0-0 against Benfica last night. Benfica and Barcelona are still in contention. Who do you think is going through? Start with Julian this time.
I think Benfica is going to go through. I think Barcelona offensively, they're not good enough to break down that Bayern Munich defense. Are they going? Perhaps they're probably going to rotate their players, considering they have a huge gap in the group and are already claimed that first place spot. But regardless, I still think Benfica is going to find a way to break down the Dynamo Kiev side and clinch all 3 points there. So I think I could definitely see Benfica going through and crashing Barcelona out of the Champions League, perhaps into the Europa League.
Lavish, what do you think?
I agree with Julian because I really do feel Bayern Munich are going to put Barcelona to the sword. They're not, even though they've qualified, they're still going to want to embarrass them. They're going to want to embarrass them. So yeah, Barcelona's out and they're going to Europa League. It's going to be very, very weird for them.
Imagine.
Everyone goes through it. Everyone goes through it.
Where did Nathan said Dortmund have already confirmed in the Europa League? I'm assuming that's head to head with Sporting. I think they must have against Sport. So yeah, forget about the Dortmund one. They're already in Europa League.
Okay.
Europa League ball to Dortmund. Villarreal and Atalanta. Villarreal on 7 points. Atalanta on 6 points. Who do you think is going through? Start with Lavish this time.
I'm gonna go for Julian's Italian at Atalanta because I'm like I said earlier, I'm tired of Villarreal. I'm tired of the toothlessness. Even though Atalanta should have really put Manchester United to the sword twice, I feel like they're a bit more. I feel like they're wasteful and they're trying. You can see they do everything they can to score, and like they leave it all on the pitch. I give it to them. They just really can't defend. Villarreal's one is like they're blunt defensively. No, they're weak defensively. They're blunt attacking wise, but they can control a game, but they still lose. It's very, very weird. So I'm going Atalanta to go for
Julian.
Yeah, I agree with Lavish on this one. I think Atalanta is going to find a way to break down that Villarreal defense and score and collect all 3 points here to qualify to the next round. I don't think the Villarreal is going to be able to contain the combination of Milanovsky, Zapata, and Pasalic, those 3 players who combine so well together and who are in incredible form lately. So I could definitely see Atalanta clinching all 3 points here.
Nathan said Moreau and Illich against Torres and Albion. This could have been absolute pamming.
Yeah, there's so much pace.
Final one, Salzburg and Sevilla. Salzburg on 7 points, Sevilla on 6 points. Salzburg lost against Lyon the last game week. I think everyone's kind of taking a peek at Salzburg recently because of Adeyemi, the young boy who's been beating it up for Salzburg in the Champions League. Who do you think is going to go through, Salzburg or Sevilla? Start with Lavish. I'll let Lavish go first this time.
Yeah, let me go first most time, but that's fine.
No worries, man, all good.
To be fair, the group's wide open because even Wolfsburg, who's last, have 5 points. So it's like anyone can kind of still.
Right, I even left out Wolfsburg. My bad.
Yeah, even Lille. So I don't know how the head-to-head's working on this group, but I feel like anyone can still go through.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to Salzburg because, like you said, Adeyemi. Like he says,
just off the strength of Adeyemi.
Just off of the strength of Adeyemi, just no actual knowledge or football knowledge, just Adeyemi, just vibes.
Julian, what do you think?
I think Sevilla are gonna go through. I think, especially that game versus Wolfsburg, they were pretty impressive to break down that strong defensive side of Wolfsburg. Rakitic was on fire. He gave a beautiful ball to Pedro, and Ocampos was brilliant along the flank, who did a fantastic run, going through like 2-3 players and finding the super sub Mir in that game in the back to score in the back of the net and clinch all 3 points for them. So I think I'm gonna go with Sevilla. They're pretty talented on paper and they have the experience necessary to to get the job done.
All right, that's all the groups we've gone through now. Julian, it's been flipping fantastic to have you on the Final Third European REARview show. You've been a fantastic guest. I want you to plug whatever you want to plug now. He's got a banging website, got Instagram. I want you to plug what you want to plug right now, please.
Yeah, for sure. So like my boy Bang said, I pretty much have a website called www.calciojulian.com, which is pretty much a website that focuses on the Serie A, and where I publish articles based on transfer news, post and pregame analysis, and injury updates. And you could follow me on social media on Instagram at @CalcioWithJulian, where I pretty much keep you guys updated on collaborations with different podcasts and post whenever I post an article.
Fantastic. Make sure you follow Julian on Instagram. Make sure you go visit his website as well. CalcioWithJulian.com.
Calcio with Julian.
Calcio.
Yeah.
Julian, I need you. It's been such an open Serie A race. Before you sign off, I need you to give your prediction for who you think is taking home the Serie A this season. Who do you think is going to win it?
I think Inter Milan's going to win it for a second year in a row. I think right now they're on a fantastic run. They won 3 games in a row in all competitions. They managed to secure their first Champions League spot in the round of 16 for the first time in over a decade. And he's just been brilliant, despite the fact they lost Hakimi, Lukaku, and Antonio Conte all within the same summer. They managed to maintain that hunger and that drive and motivation to keep winning. So I think I'm going to go with Inter Milan. I think right now they're on a good run, and I think they're going to keep this. They found their stride now.
Okay.
All right. Once again, this has been the Final Third European REARview show. Thank you to everyone that's locked in on this Wednesday evening. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Keep up to date with all the latest Final Third news, shows, and whatnot. We've got Get Well Soon, Arsenal and United We Ball new shows coming up. Make sure you smash that like button for this video. Once again, make sure you go check out Julian's website, calciowithjulian.com. Make sure you follow him on the gram. Julian, wait, let me make sure I get it right. I'll let Julian say actually.
It's at @CalcioJulian.
Calcio Julian. Make sure you go follow him on the gram. It's been your host, Banks. Make sure you follow me at Banks_TF3 and at the Final Third_ on Instagram. Make sure you follow my faithful co-host, Shemi, or Shemi Lore, Lavish Kante's cousin, whichever one you want to call him. Hope you have a very good evening. I'm going to play that good music. Have a great night.
You are now listening to The Final Third.
I think Pepe's so coachable.
Wow, you should be in
Just need to
prison.
shake him.
You should be in prison. We build you out. We build you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be in prison.